Hello everybody, welcome to another Castle Smashers episode. I'm here today with Trent and Peter.
Thanks for having me on board.
So we're doing a bunch of sports games because it's Australia Day and all that. We did some cricket, now we're doing some Aussie Rules Footy, which is an NES game made by the same company as the cricket, which is Beam Software, who later became Chrome Studios Melbourne, who unfortunately went defunct in 2010. So, hey, you can pick your teams here.
Like, some of these teams, they weren't even in the AFL back then as well, I don't think.
No, they're AFL, VFL teams.
Yeah.
Okay,
you got Canberra. I'm going to Canberra.
Who would want to be North Melbourne? I mean, seriously.
I love in this game how you can, like, pick an official team, but choose your own colour for it. So say I could pick Geelong and be purple.
Well, I think it's pretty intuitive, though. See, that one of the great things about this game is that it has one of my favourite teams,
which is
Fitzroy.
Okay.
So that was a team I grew up supporting.
Right.
Fitzroy aren't around anymore, so they merged with Brisbane.
Well,
up here, which are the Brisbane Lions nowadays.
I grew up in a small country town where you're expected to love football, even though I didn't. So I used to tell people I went to St Kilda. I vaguely remember that they were red and black.
So we got Elvis Lives. So
this is classic for the game.
A classic Australian brick wall here.
Elvis Lives.
Yep. We've got
Sid loves Nancy.
First quarter. Here we go.
So yeah, Peter and I follow AFL pretty well. Dan doesn't really follow it that much.
Alright,
what are the buttons?
The only sports I tend to like are esports, and even then I have very little interest in other people playing games. I'd rather play them myself.
Out of bounds.
That was such an American accent there.
I need to figure out these controls. It's like the same sound effect from Super International Cricket.
Yeah, it looks like they borrowed similar sound bites.
What's the tackle button?
B.
B's making me jump. Okay, now I know what I'm doing. Go tackle him, tackle him. Out on the floor.
It just both of your teams are just like these brightly coloured. I don't know, like I know they're supposed to be football jerseys, but they could be nightgowns.
This is like some neon 90s Fremantle that I'm playing with at the moment.
I'm just going to go on the record here and say that this is the best AFL game in history.
In history.
Well, they make like a new one every year, and the best one was made like 20 years ago.
Yes.
Actually, what year did this come out? It's NES. So
91.
This would be like
91.
That's a while ago.
Australian release date was 1991. And then, from the looks of it, it didn't even get a release in other countries. Which, like, never happens these days.
Where's the ball? Oh, I've got it.
I mean, the great thing about this game is that it's fast-paced, yet you're in the game pretty quick. You know, it throws you in. And it's quick. Like, there's no real like stoppages. I mean, with a lot of the more current games, you've got like different custom animations for different marks and
yeah. There's a lot of detail put into like sort of very small aspects of the game, which is just a trend of the industry. They're going for realism.
Yep.
And they're probably spending a little bit too much time on going for realism rather than going for fun. But then again, I haven't played them, so I don't know. I'm not saying they're unfun or anything.
The good thing about this game is shooting for goal. It's a bit interesting how that works. There's a little bar down the bottom, if you can see that.
Oh yeah, what's that?
What it is
The-
it's the goal posts. So depending on the distance you are from the goals, the
Yeah, see, I'm lining up for a shot
Oh,
now.
I
The
see.
further I am out, the harder it is to take a shot.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, and where you hit the ball, the button is gonna. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
the ball goes on that angle through the.
In the newer AFL games, it's pretty much just,
Look at that hair.
if you're lining up at the goal, just shoot.
if that hair didn't date an error,
Right, alright.
there it is.
Could be
So
mistaken for
it's easier to kick goals in the newer ones, is it?
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. It depends. I find this system quite intuitive.
It's a bit of a shame that this was an Australia-only game.
I don't think anyone would be playing this outside of Australia.
Yeah, no, and the company that made it is defunct. But not only that, it was published by Mattel, which I don't think Mattel do video games anymore.
Don't they?
Well,
Do they do like products or?
Mattel. I remember growing up, Mattel used to do
Toy products and stuff.
so many
That's
kids' toys and things. Like they still do Hot Wheels and Matchbox and a bunch of other things. They've been around.
Oh,
But I haven't seen any sort of video game Mattel branding in so long.
I'm no good at marking the ball. Oh yeah.
How are the controls anyway? Like, how many buttons does it use?
It's pretty
Uses
good.
2.
Yeah.
It uses just 2 buttons.
You've got a handball
yeah,
and
being a
tackle
NES
button.
game, of course. They only had 2 buttons. So, what? A does...
A, hand passes and marks.
Yeah?
Also, it does a short kick if you're within range,
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yep.
And B does a large kick.
Does it automatically change to the player nearest to the ball, or do you have a switch button? Like with select
Player nearest to the ball, I think.
Yep. Oh, that was a screamer. It's on the 50
Look at that
line.
little bar down the bottom going nuts.
Out of bounds.
See, I have virtually no chance of kicking from that distance.
So apparently this game supports 6 players. I'm assuming it's doing like a series. Or
Yeah,
tournament type
there's
thing.
a season mode which allows you 6 players to each choose a team and play in the season. So each person plays their own team. It's they recycle the play.
Yeah.
I mean, this game only supports 2 players, so you can
Yeah,
only
because the
have
NES only had 2 controller boards.
yeah. So you can only have 2 players playing each other at once, but it works on a rotational basis. So
Yeah.
the actual one of the good things about this game is in the season mode, it's kind of like the equivalent of a story mode. There's a newspaper that comes out like every few games,
Yeah.
and it'll give like the ladder, the AFL ladder, and the the scores and different headlines. So I mean, it was an interesting mechanic, and I mean, I played this game as a kid. I played it probably too much. And I remember actually when I was
I just missed
when I was a little toddler. I was not a toddler, but I was a kid. But I used to actually make those newspapers myself.
Oh wow. Okay.
And
Dedication.
yeah, I would draw the newspapers and put my own stuff in there.
So that's like the '90s equivalent of fan art.
I guess. I mean, I played football as a kid, so I mean this game, comes a bit more naturally to me.
Well, the games that I grew up playing on the NES were Mega Man 2 and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I played those as well. I mean, those were good games. I played Mega Man 3 more than 2, but
Yeah, see, everywhere online I always see people say Mega Man 3 is the best Mega Man, but 2 is the one I grew up with.
yeah, I think that's it. I think whichever one you grew up with is
The best one. Well, that's a very typical mentality. It's also the mentality with people who buy mobile phones or video game consoles. The one that they had is the best one, and they refuse to think otherwise. But no, I've since played Mega Man 3, and I think that was the one that added the slide mechanics in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can understand why people say Mega Man 3 is the best one, because it's like very early in the series, but all of the core and best mechanics are in that.
I think this has been our first ball up from a stoppage. No, another one.
Actually, in the season mode, the Premiership game, the game actually has cheerleaders. So
That's not Australian.
It's not something you see often in Australian football.
Maybe it was just something that the developers did for funsies.
Might even be one of the earliest games to feature cheerleaders as well. I don't know.
I need to work on my marking skills here.
That was a pretty good mark.
Yeah, oh, look at that one. I can't even get past half field.
But one of the defining features of this game is the umpire.
Why? What's so good about the umpire?
His soundbite. Out of bounds, on the full.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I nearly got that one.
Well, I suppose having like actual voice on a game this old probably takes up a significant amount of space on the game's cartridge.
Yeah.
So I remember reading some article which I thought was really odd that Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Mega Drive, that Sega soundbite that played at the start, took up a full half of the game's size.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
But, because what it was, they were originally going to have some game mode, like a co-op thing or something, and it got scrapped. So the guy in charge of the team just went, well, another thing that's important is the very first screen that players see of your game. So he was just like, we're just going to spend all of that space on this one screen.
Rush behind. Oh, I'm getting pummeled here.
But, that soundbite is pretty iconic now. Not that Sega released too many great games these days.
Yeah. See, as much as I suck at this game, I still love playing it.
I'm actually enjoying watching this.
It's just so hectic. It does need some sort of music. See, that was like a 60-meter kick.
Yeah, it's funny because they can do massive kicks after past 50 meters, but they're way off target. It's really like a shot in the dark.
It's really like
shooting the moon.
Yeah.
It's exactly like what they'd be doing in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, because back then there was like way less rules in things in sport, and that was it was after some massive brawl or something that they went and started really tightening up rules.
Come on, they shouldn't have.
Oh well, AFL's always been a physical game by nature, but they've incorporated like a lot of different rules to the game. The game's pretty much evolved from what it once was. I mean, it used to be like more of a physical contest, a bit dirtier. There was a lot more physical hits.
Yeah.
I mean, the fighting was a part of it, but the players themselves, they weren't like.
There was a bit more emotion in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like today. They weren't sort of athletes. They would pretty much play the game. Then after the game, go to the pub and have a beer or something. I mean, they weren't trained to play the game like they are today.
Yeah.
A player going out to the pub after a game nowadays would probably like get suspended for the club.
Yeah, well, they're not supposed to. Drink alcohol in public or.
It's a bit more professional.
But yeah, I guess that's the player image that they want to.
That was a snap around the body.
No, I'm trying to look up this information because I vaguely remember hearing something from like a football fan, which was one of the big precursors to them really tightening up on brawling and fighting and hitting opponents and whatnot. But I just can't quite remember what it was, and I don't want to say anything and get it wrong.
Fair enough.
Well, we know why Canberra's not in the AFL.
Well, I mean, even my favourite team, Fitzroy. I mean,
they're gone.
They're sort of there in spirit, but they're not the same as they once was.
That's what I need. Get a mark. Oh, the players don't respond. It's like taking a little while for the players to.
Yeah, I think the game sort of reads where direction the ball's going, and then
it calculates where the.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Let's go for a run. I gave it straight to you.
That was about 65 metres. See, every player looks exactly the same in this game as well.
Yeah.
All the sprites.
Well, I mean, the current games, they try to model the characters to the players as best they can. But in that, like, I think it loses some sort of, I don't know, I'm probably a little bit nostalgic talking about it.
Well, this one's a bit more cheesy, I'd say.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think that's part of that's sort of do with the time that the game was in, there's outrageous hair.
Well, I think that's the end of the game.
Yeah, I was like, why is there sudden losing?
It's a solid performance by
Canberra
by
2, Fitzroy 62.
There we go.
That's not Fitzroy's colours.
Oh, well, they were red, blue, and yellow. Could be an away strip.
Alright, yeah, so that looks like a good look at Aussie Rules Footy here.
Yeah, no, that was pretty good, actually.
I'm actually surprised you enjoyed that.
Well, it's more like... Actually, I don't know, like, I guess because it's not such a simulation game and more of a fun football game.
It's
my interest more than anything.
Sort of like how you got those NBA games. I think you got NBA Live.
I think it's
and
NBA Jam. The one where you can go like big head mode.
Yeah, the huge
players.
dunks and
You've got the more arcadey style versus the more realistic.
Yeah, and I played those back on what was it, the N64? I think I played it on, or maybe it was the PlayStation 1.
This mode we're doing at the moment is just kick to kick. It's like a.
This is just like a bonus.
What is
mode.
wrong with the field? It's like been destroyed.
This is like
This
the
is
training
more-
field.
Yeah,
You're right.
it's like a park more
It's
than anything.
nasty.
So like if Peter stands on the other end here, I can like kick it to him and he's trying to tackle me.
Come back here. But yeah, what you were getting at before, this is more just like an arcadey type game. It's quick and it's fun. Fun is the base element. It's not trying to go for simulation.
Yeah, which is always the thing I value most highly in a game.
And I think
Unless
some
I'm playing
some of the new AFL games are pretty good. Like I think it was AFL Live Premiership Edition. I think it was maybe 2007. I mean that was a quality game.
They've got a second one out now actually, AFL Live 2.
Right.
Which I wouldn't mind giving a go at.
But yeah, I mean, some of those games, I mean, they sort of lose the translation of simulation to fun.
Yeah, especially when they're releasing a new one almost every year as well. There's a lot of pressure to keep making the new one better and better and better.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they do focus on pushing the technology and the simulation aspect as far as it goes.
Yeah, I mean, they simulate the game in more detail. I mean, you have the drafts, you have player picks.
I remember reading about one of the newer sports games that came out that had like the most realistic ball physics ever.
Right.
Where the ball will actually spin in the air and then bounce accordingly when it hits the ground and things like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting because I mean the AFL football itself is it's a weird shape.
It's that
pretty
oval
unique shape,
thing, which causes it to bounce in random directions when it hits on an angle.
There's been like countless times in AFL matches where sort of a player will kick it and it'll just bounce off its side.
Well, I mean, even the umpire itself, like the centre bounce, I mean, it doesn't always bounce the way that the umpire wants it to. I mean, they're trained to, be as consistent as possible in bouncing the ball, but, it doesn't always
go straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah, All right, well, thanks for watching, everybody. Tune in next week for another Castle Smashers episode. And thanks again to Peter for joining us.
Thanks for having me.